What's going on, guys? Thanks for stopping by and clicking on another morning mug video here. Having a look at some of the MindMed news. Got some great news this morning. Had some selling, some insider selling. So we're gonna have a look at that too, which is not always a great thing, but we'll talk about that. So without any more hold up, let's get into it. So here is the chart for MindMed, MMED, on the Neo Stock Exchange. This is the news we got this morning. Came out around 7:30. MindMed announces the start of first ever clinical trial combining MDMA and LSD, so that's awesome. I'm not sure if you guys know the history of these drugs, but they've been messed around with over the decades here. This is the first time a clinical FDA approved trial is going to be being conducted. It's going to be going through down at the University Hospital Basel Liechii Lab in Switzerland, so that's the one they've been partnered with over a little while here. The intentions of using MDMA is to increase the positive subjective drug effects that are known to happen with LSD, such as negative emotions and anxiety. So it's just going to be another boost to their trial and another positive note for their pipeline, which is just awesome for us longs here. Next thing I wanted to bring up is just this website here. This is CanadianInsider.com. Not sure if you guys know about this one, but if you don't, it is just where you can go and see all the insider trading that is happening with a stock or any Canadian stock that you're looking at. So if we scroll down for MindMed, you can see over the last week, I'm sure a lot of you already know, that Jamin Alexander Ron, the CEO of the company, has been selling a couple shares, a little more than a couple. But over the course of January 11th to January 15th, he dumped about 2.2 million shares, which is about 20% of his position. So if we click this one here and head down to the notes, general remarks, sales were affected for tax planning and payment of tax liabilities purposes. So this is understandable. It's not his whole position, obviously. It's a large portion of it, but as we can see here, this is the closing balance, 8.6 million. And just before that, closing balance or opening balance would have been 10.3. So he jobbed a little under 2 million shares then, actually. So that's or from what it looks like, so a little under 2 million. Still a large portion of shares, but with the news today, this being such a big potential for being a catalyst, I think that does give some credence to JR saying this is for tax liabilities. So that's good. That definitely like to see this news Wednesday morning here after all these sales from JR. So it's definitely a good sign. Now, what does him selling the stock mean for the NASDAQ approval? I think this news coming out today personally shows that he was intentionally selling these stocks for tax purposes, and in so there's nothing to be worried about on the long side of this stock. Such a groundbreaking clinical trial that's going to be going on, and it definitely had the power to do what it did today to the stock price. So since he is the CEO, he would have known that was going to be happening. So why would he sell his stock before this nice bump? If we look at the prices, over the price of the stock today, just under actually what it's maxed out at. So it's not like he was trying to play the highs. I think that's probably what his intention was to have sold it over this period of time, was to show that he was not trying to sell on any sort of high or anything, and he actually sold the biggest portion of his position at the lowest price. So I mean, these are all speculations. This is all reading into his decisions here, so it's nothing to really care too much for, but I think it's definitely reassuring that there's still good things to come. If we move on over to the charts, have a look at the price action here. It's still trading within that normal channel that we've been talking about, the 345 roughly to 420 channel. Didn't quite break that today, and we saw a little pullback once it started to get close. Holding pretty well above the VWAP, holding pretty well above the 30-term exponential moving average, and well above the 180-term simple moving average. This is a 5-day, 5-minute chart, so those longer-term moving averages tend to be a little bit skewed. But anyway, bouncing a little bit off the VWAP here, but I'm not going to do too much technical analysis. I'm just going to keep my eye on this one to see if it deserves any more additional shares on my end. I'm pretty maxed out realistically when it comes to MindMed. Just waiting on the NASDAQ uplisting, and then we'll see what happens in terms of taking some profits and whatnot. But that's what the price action looks like today. Moving up a little bit right now, but let's see where it can finish. Hopefully it can have a strong close, a strong rest of the day here, and if we break this resistance, that'd be even better. Remember, nothing you hear here is stock advice or financial advice. It's just my opinion. It's just what I'm looking at. Don't make any stock decisions because of what you heard on the internet. Do your own due diligence always. Make sure you're making informed decisions with your money. But that pretty much sums up the video here. Thanks for stopping by Morning Mug again here. If you think I deserve a like for bringing you guys some value here, I'd really appreciate that. And subscribe if you want to stick around and get more updates and catch my videos when they're released. Do your best to have a good green week out there, and safe travels.